different businesses, different organizations, and different needs. You know, process automation is great in theory. It is the way of the future, 100%. But doing it mindfully, I think, is very important. You want to make sure that you have good synergy with your marketing team, because marketing is going to be what attracts anybody. And if you overdo it on the process automation with marketing, I've found it really is a big turnoff to consumers. So making sure you have you're mindful in your approach to automating anything on the marketing side is a big one. I would say less is more always. I think it's good to build everything you think you need and then build with the intention of refining, getting feedback and understanding what is really necessary in terms of automation. You might think that there's 8 steps of automation in a care system or process flow, and come to find that only 2 are actually needed, because the remaining are actually flooding people with notifications, or duplication of efforts if it's already being done manually. You find that less is more pretty quickly with process automation. You need to make sure that your personnel is trained properly to handle the automation, to maintain that human touch that I've been speaking about, and can navigate your systems internally to then face the external and not look like an idiot, to be frank. So, a good example of this might be an autoresponder for an intake form, and mindfully building your whatever marketing team you're working with, mindfully building with them to implement an autoresponder instead of a full chain of automation. That autoresponder might say, hey, our team will be in touch within 24 hours. And then your personnel is trained to not only access, get notified and access that information, but to follow up within the 24 hours, like you promised, and to do it within a human way. So integrating, all levels of intake and automation, it becomes very important, and remaining mindful about the less is more into your personnel training is vital. And then once you've built and refined and trained your personnel and gotten feedback, then you can start doing some really cool things with notifications and optimizations, different integrations. There's so much happening in the SaaS world. I'm trying to wrap my head around it still. There's just so many great services right at your fingertips, and if you build it, it can do some pretty cool stuff. So. But that gets into the next level of process automation, and a lot of this actually is maybe a little bit higher level than what you need at the individual or group practice kind of operation. But I do see in the software world how incredible some of this stuff is in terms of efficiencies and reducing burdens. Clinical admin burdens are right in that conversation on the provider side. So just like I continue to kind of drive home, it needs to be integrative, understand what it is, how it can serve your business, build it in theory, but then remember it's going to need to be refined to function in practice. And then making sure your personnel is trained and equipped to operate within, and then you get into the more fun, high level stuff in terms of optimizations and integrations, and what's the next tool out there that I can plug into this, because it might help make this automation and experience even better. So this is just kind of a hopeful vision for the future in U.S. healthcare. Collective goals that I think we can all get behind. I'm hoping to see more of an advancement in consumer education in this upcoming year. I think it's at the forefront of everybody's mind, and everybody is pretty open to it post-COVID, needing to focus more on just being educated and taking better care of ourselves. And beyond that, I think with momentum in the consumer education realm, I think we can really reshape the landscape of care, focusing more on the primary side, connecting people with telehealth, and getting ahead of things before it's a problem. That is just such a need, and can fix so many things that we end up beating ourselves up over down the line in terms of tertiary care and retroactively chasing symptoms. We gotta start integrating this stuff. And while we have amazing acute care, amazing emergency care, amazing infrastructure, and some really sophisticated devices that have been allowed within the current system, I think it's going to be really important to shift it back here towards primary care and keeping people healthy, educating the consumer, and using telehealth mindfully, process automation mindfully, digital experience, enhanced digital experiences to just shift this whole thing, because there's definitely progress that needs to be made. So.